कृपया ध्यान दीजिए, the language used on the podcast may not be fit for consumption. We warn you, tread carefully. But listen yaar, don't be so conservative. In 99, 2000, I'm not sure, one of the 2 years, 31st night, raat ko, I'm not kidding, 31st night when I was drinking heavily, I was very drunk at about 8:39, 9:30 in the night. I got a call from Rajat Kapoor. Interested in acting in Mixed Doubles, his soon-to-be-produced film. I don't know if he remembers that at all. But I was so drunk, I can't remember much of the conversation. But this was the story. I was like, "Kyun? मेरे को 31st पे phone क्यों किया?" But we'll find out more because we have him in the studio after 3 or 4 years. Rajat is back. He's back with. He's always got a movie coming out. He's one of those guys. Every weekend there's a movie coming out. Almost. He's that prolific.
I wish.
But it is. If we go through the body of work, and we will at some point. Rajat, welcome to the show. And first and foremost, the fight I have with the people, because now we suddenly have 30 people working. And when you have 30 people working, you know how bad it is, the product. No? It's even worse than last time. I'm warning you right now. So the first question I asked them, is it Rajat or Rajat?
Right.
This is, I know you get this all the time and you're dealing with this all your life. And I have to explain to them, but because they just don't understand. One, so I have to say, Byomkesh Bakshi, no, Mixed Doubles, no, RKAY, no, the guy who's doing more ads, the guy who was, in Ghulam. It's just, and then, after I just finally decided to look at the literature myself, and it's the one and only Rajat. Not to say Rajat is a bad guy, but let's just clarify that. And let's start at the top now, because we've spoken to you before. We sort of remember your journey and everything. We discussed that. You gave me a list of questions to say, as well as 501 rupees on the spot, and I respect that a lot. Yeah, thanks so much. It's very dally of you, yaar. Paisa khilao, naach bandar. But now it's a brand new film, and this is a very interesting one. I won't waste time in my stupid conversation. I read Mayank Shekhar's interview, or rather review, more the review on you actually as a person. He's fascinated with you. Be very careful. Huh? वो बंदा आपके गली में आ गया, तो you should shut all the doors. I'm worried about this guy. But I think no praise can be too high. He was completely in awe of what you've done. And with this film, he's called it all kinds of path-breaking words, which I know it's difficult for you to talk about in that way. But first, let me just try and understand RKAY, that's Rajat Kapoor. Just explain the title first.
Well, it's a film about a filmmaker. His name is RK. And RK in the film is making a film in which he's also acting as Mehboob Alam. And
I saw the trailer. It was hilarious.
And Mehboob Alam runs away.
Yeah.
So there's kind of a split in that RK. That's why RK.
Okay, so two avatars of RK. But so there was noises of something. I remember in theatre back in the day where there's a play within a play. That kind of concept is there. But
well, a film within a film is not a new
concept.
New concept.
But it's very interesting because you're actually seeing candid stuff in a sense, right? Which I honestly think, how will you watch a normal film again? Just watching the trailer and seeing what's happening of the making of the film and the film is so riveting.
Right, but it's not really candid.
Yeah,
it's shot.
No, of course it's actually short. But I'm just saying, but the idea of candid stuff going on in the background and all is almost more fun than the plot.
Yeah. Well, always making a film about a filmmaking is always very interesting. Day for Night, Truffaut's 8.5, Fellini's.
If show off karega, to main kya karega? I've kept Abbas only for this. Once you start using French and Italian names, I know I have to be very careful. Okay, get the Google out, Sparsh. Don't let him intimidate us.
American film, all the jazz, which I'm sure you know.
For all those who don't know about Rajat Kapoor, let me tell you, he's one of those rare, when they study the history of Indian cinema and entertainment, one of those rare guys who actually does everything. He literally does everything. I can't think of anybody else. Nasir to some extent, but he doesn't do ad films, for example. There's nothing you don't do. And you go back to Beckett and Ionesco and all these big names and Shakespeare, what have you, and you've done them in Hindi.
So you know some French names.
I studied in Cambridge. I didn't have to look stupid. No, but that's just so amazing. I think that's why people like Mayank Shekhar have so much respect for you, because I wish you had classes for other people sometimes, because you just do your own thing.
I don't think people should respect other people for how much they know. I think that's a very low criteria for judging people.
Dekha Abbas, I try to be nice and straight away slap. See what happens? I told you, get me Anupam Kher. You don't listen.
No, I'm telling you, I respect you.
Sorry.
Even though you think you don't know things, or at least French names and Italian names, but that is not a criteria for...
No, but people get intimidated when people start talking Fellini and Pellini and all that. A lot of people do get intimidated for some reason. I don't know why that happens.
Okay, I won't anymore.
No, please do. This is your show. I'm happy to be intimidated. appreciated. Yeah, so let's get back to the film. Let's just talk about the film first because so much to talk about. Just set up the idea without giving away everything, obviously. Just set up the idea, basically, which you have in a sense that on a film set. Because there's so many different characters that are there also in the trailer, which we can come one by one to each one of them. Okay, go ahead.
So RK is a filmmaker making a film, and he's anxious about this film that he has just shot. Something is not working out. He doesn't know what it is. And to prove his anxiety is right, he gets a call from his editing studio saying that the main character is absconding. And now this guy, Mehboob Alam, he lands up in the real world. And now RK and his team have to send him back into the film so that RK can finish his film. That's what essentially it is.
Okay, so he's sort of escaped the film.
Right.
And now you have to put him back in the film or the world can't go on, basically.
Yeah, the film can't be completed unless he goes back.
Yeah.
So RK can't finish his film.
Okay, in the meantime, let's quickly go because it's a very sterling cast that you have. Some of your usual suspects, of course, but Ranveer Shori again was fantastic. Whatever little I saw, of course, of this sort of throwback to the 80s hero or villain.
No, 60s.
60s, is it?
Yeah.
Anyway, I could relate to it, so I didn't want to give the decade. That's a horrible thing. But immediately, I miss that little bit, that stylized sort of performance and that loudness and that staring and that big hand movements and gestures.
Right. See, even Mallika is the character she's playing in the film.
I didn't recognize her till I read the credits there. As in the face, she's
gorgeous.
very different. Yeah, she's gorgeous.
She's gorgeous.
No doubt.
And she's done a great job. Unlike, I think, anything that she's done before. So the film that RK is making is an ode to the 50s or 60s. So these characters are from that era. For Mallika, it's a bit of Wahida Rahman, Meena Kumari, Madhubala, that kind of thing.
Yeah, wow. And okay, so without giving us so what is the story? The film actual kahani, what is it?
Which film? My film or RK's film?
RK's film.
Who cares? Who cares? It doesn't matter.
I care.
No.
I want to see that.
No, well,
so do we get to see that or not?
Of course, a little bit, but it's not very interesting. The interesting fact is that Mehboob goes missing from whatever was
the parallel story in reality that's happening.
Yeah.
Right. Which is what exactly is going wrong in his life at the same time?
Whose life? Cyrus, come on.
Mehboob.
He's supposed to deliver something to K.N. Singh, that's Ranveer's character, and he tries to run away with K.N. Singh's money, and K.N. Singh tries to shoot him. But while he's running, he runs so hard that he slips out of the film. Something like that.
Okay. No narcotic substances were consumed at the time of making the film. Or not. I don't know. All right. So how does this story come to you?
I don't know. It happens organically and
It's a horrible question to ask someone. How do you get this process and this and that right?
I know.
But I'm just trying to, because if you look at your body of work again, everything is very different. There's no one can't really make too many connections. Most people have a certain style or whatever.
There are connections. There are. Now that I look back, I can spot the connections. Like there's a recurring thing about identity, whether it's Raghu, where he thinks that the character is the real person, whereas Mithya, where one guy becomes the other. Fatso, and again, RK. There is a recurring theme of identity. There is a fascination for obsessive men. Aankhon Dikhi or Mithya or mixed doubles. These are all obsessive men on a strange journey. So now I can see a pattern, but when I'm writing, it's not like I'm saying, okay, let me make a film about an obsessive. No. But they just come to me. These characters fascinate me, obviously. RK started quite differently. When I first wrote it in 2011 or 12, it was about a filmmaker who loses his reflection in the mirror. So one day, there's no reflection.
Wow.
What happened?
Sounds like a politician, huh?
Politician.
There's no accountability. There's no reflection. That's it. You're done. That's a great idea, actually.
Yeah, well,
think about
maybe we can do it again. And he's anxious because of that, but he doesn't know what it means. And then the reflection lands up in the real world and slowly takes over his life. That was the first draft. Then it kept changing and became this finally.
So you write it once and you sort of rewrite the whole thing again?
Yeah, over years. I normally do 3 or 4 drafts of a film.
So if you start in 2011 for this particular one, for RKAY, how long before you'd reach the finality somewhat where you know where you are?
2017.
What are you saying? 6 years in writing?
Because no, it's not that you're writing every day.
I know, but
it stays with you. It stays with you and keeps you
it's
keep
evolving
over it.
In a sense, yeah.
Yeah, so kuch pakra hai andar. And then you show it to your friends and they react to it. They say, what is this shit?
And then whatever they say, you disregard as a good artist.
No, you don't. You don't disregard because it means something, whatever they felt. Obviously, it means something to them. So it should mean something to you, though the solution may not be the same as they suggest.
Okay, let's again the fact that this chaplainist thing where you do everything. You're directing. How does that work? How do you direct and sort of act?
That's not hard, Cyrus. It's not hard.
Because I'm just watching people on sets. The director sometimes loses their mind completely, and then to go back into the scene as the actor as well, it's not going to be that easy.
No, I don't lose my mind.
Yeah?
So, yeah, that makes it easier.
Or do you have someone else directing when you're acting?
No, there's nothing to... You see, the direction part is not about narrating the actor. The direction part is more about the camera.
Technical issues.
The technical issues. So once that is taken care of, which you do from the outside, then you step in and
so
say your lines.
Kapoor, the thespian, is a little different as a director when you're working with primarily only with actors on stage.
Yeah, well, they're
not so much technique.
Two completely different mediums. So yeah, the logistics are different. In theatre, you're trying to find everything through your actors, right? And mostly I start a play without knowing anything. I start with an idea, and then we keep exploring it for 3 months. And that exploration is with actors. So everything depends on what they bring to the stage. Literally, they throw a ball at you, and you catch it and throw it back, and so on. That is the process. Whereas for a film, at least I have a script to start with. And then the initial work is with the production designer, cameraman, costume
That's
people.
a very good point you brought up. I want to ask you, since we always, from the other side of perspective of people in front of camera, it's very irritating to work sometimes. I think for a lot of people who work with directors who keep telling you what to do. I have this partner who works with me who's a real pain in the ass. For example, he keeps telling people how to act. He acts it out, which is very old school, I suppose, or whatever. But and after some time, people they're completely weird about this whole, guy playing in a woman's voice, if it's a lady, for example. It literally does all that. It becomes like a lampoon.
Right.
So...
no, it's not a good way of doing it.
So how do you handle it? Because you've got these big names also, you're working with very talented people. How do you...
So mostly as a rule, I'll tell you something else. From my first film, I've worked with the same cameraman, Rafi Mahmood. And it's been a phenomenal...
So cheap basically. You told him, 40-year deal, paisa kam hoga, but work every month. Yeah.
Unfortunately, even that is not true because we make a film once every 4 years maybe. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's been consistent. So from the first film, we decided we'll never do a short breakdown. So when I go to the set, I don't know how are we going to do it. Normally my thing is to play the scene out with actors. I say, this is the scene, we're doing it. How would you play it? What?
They interpret it their own way.
Exactly. So you do it, you're free to move, you're free to play it where you want in the house, for example.
Wow, this is great.
Yeah. And then from that, we start thinking, okay, now how do we want to shoot this?
But no short breakdown.
No short breakdown.
How the discipline of days and all, how do you manage that then? Complete this much, complete that much?
We know this. We have to finish the scene in a day. So I do the scheduling and we make our films very fast. RKAY was shot in 24 days.
Wow. Man, apparently it's a really good film. If you can do it in 24 days, why are these guys counting footage for 3 months and 4 months? And
I have
all?
no idea.
That's a little...
idea. No, they're most of it is because they're inefficient. No, but it's true. It's true. If you spend 3 hours waiting for the actor to arrive,
that's true. That's ridiculous.
That's inefficient.
Why is that still? Does that still happen? I don't think that still happens.
I believe so.
My God, that's just ridiculous, man. We have podcasters who don't come on time, Abbas. 10 o'clock in the morning is a bit late for them, so I don't understand. Do you do 9 a.m. shifts and 7 a.m. shifts?
Of course.
So don't ever get on that film set. Rajat will shoot you. Yeah. Although
you come late, huh?
Apparently, yes.
And Rajat has a live podcast. So, we're live without the guy. He's just, where do you go from there? Yeah.
Wow.
You really struggle.
So your domestic things are coming out on this podcast.
They always do.
I see.
We're so self-centered, it all comes back. We get a big guy like you with a great film and all that. We still want to talk about our problems like that. Yeah. All right, let's get back to RKAY. So what is the genre then of RKAY? Am I seeing too much comedy in it? Is it not supposed to be so comedic?
I hope there will be humor.
Yeah.
It's difficult to define a genre for this. I don't know.
Well, I got a lot of time for Mayank Shekhar. I keep mentioning him, of course, because I really like his reviews and, his guy stays on top.
I'm very fond of him.
He is so in awe of you that obviously now you've reached a point where we need to put a statue. A statue has to be commissioned.
Not, never.
No, karna padega. I've decided. I'm speaking to Eknath Shinde. After Aurangabad is renamed, the next move is this. 100%. We have to get your statue out.
All right.
Because I'm just wondering whether we are on a bit of a revolution thanks to people like you. Well, largely you and a couple of others, where, the whole Indian cinema will start changing it faster, looking at different things, etc. Or you're cynical about this?
That won't happen.
Why is that?
Because I've been hearing this for the last 25 years and it will not happen.
Why?
Look at box office numbers. Look at the biggest hits. You know what people are watching.
No Hindi film has done well in the last... All these South films have been doing well at the moment.
Doesn't matter what language. It's the same
Oh, so you're not a big fan of that RKR
I'm not a fan of a cinema that is saying the same thing in the same way. The idea of watching a film or reading a book or looking at a painting is what is the new ground you're breaking. Is there a good shot? My thing about film is very simple. It starts with a shot. Is there a shot that excites me to watch? I'm not interested in the story. You can... what story? What
You mean
story?
the visual has to captivate you first?
It's not the visual. It's really the shot. Visual doesn't...
Can you describe the shot?
It can be just...
like a camera tracking stairs or something, and
For example,
some sense of mystery.
because it is a visual medium. And if you're not... And we don't look at cinema as a visual medium, unfortunately. We still think of story and dialogue and all that is part of the cinema. But essentially, when there was no sound... It was still great cinema, and it works.
Some say better.
Some say better, for sure.
Yeah.
Before color, before zoom lens. So then each new technological development comes and disrupts it. So you have to find a balance again. To find a great visual, a new filmmaker will come who once again know how to use color or a zoom lens or whatever. Or now the digital medium. But I'm saying essentially it is what lens you choose, what is your camera angle, what is your camera movement, what is the sound, if there is sound, how do you edit it? That makes for a visual medium. Not somebody coming in front of the camera and say, main tere ko... Okay.
Kaat dalunga? Let's go with the usual.
Maar dalunga, kaat dalunga, whatever. It might move some people to watch that. It doesn't move me. It might impact you in some way, but it does not necessarily mean good
So
cinema.
hang on a second. What are you saying? I'm not trying to put you on the spot. Are you saying that if I watch a Rajat Kapoor film, the opening shot will be very significant?
It will tell you. I can watch any film. I mean, most people can watch any film and I know the quality of the film in the first 30 seconds. Can
you give us an example of a general famous film?
Any film. I'm saying forget if it's a good film or no. You see 40 seconds of a Martin Scorsese film, there is no way you cannot make out it's a Martin Scorsese film.
I can't remember the openings. I've seen most of them.
Goodfellas.
Opening kya hai?
As long as I was a young boy, I wanted to be a gangster. Come on.
Look at the lack of respect in the eyes of Rajat Kapoor. Yeah. It's a Ray Liotta's character, is it? Oh, God.
No. It's not about the scene or the dialogue. It's about how the camera moves. That tells you. You see, I won't give French names, Italian names.
No, please do. You're sounding like the government. We are not anti-France and all that. Please. I was just kidding around. Please give the French name. Give the example. People listening are very interested in you. Honestly, they will sit and research it.
I'm saying you see Fellini film. There's a stamp. See, what the whole idea of the author theory was that a filmmaker is a writer. He's an author who has his own handwriting. Camera was your pen. You're writing a film, and you're not writing in terms of the script or dialogue, but you're writing it through the camera. So the camera tells you. You see a Ozu film with a Japanese filmmaker, great filmmaker. There's no denying it's an Ozu film in 15 seconds. You see a Ritwik Ghatak film, you can't run away. You know it's a Ghatak. You see Pathir Panchali, 5 seconds. You know you're in hands of a master.
Abbas is now, he's salivating. He's like, I've met my guru. He'll never leave your side. You better warn your wife, you're getting one more kid coming home. He's bald, he's fat, but he loves you. He's so happy.
Well, that's unlike my other 2 kids then.
Is it? But the opening shot of the kids is important, not the rest. But another thing I read about, well, just researching a little bit, of course, don't call it research, but the 4 lines that we read, is that, which I didn't, the last time we spoke, is you're very influenced by Bengali and Bengali cinema, and you actually speak Bengali. Where did that come from?
I speak, meaning I know a few words. I understand it more than any other Indian language, maybe, except Hindi. That's because I grew up watching a lot of RKAY and Ghatak. And then my mother has lived in Kolkata for a few years, so that. And then now I've done a couple of Bengali films as an actor. Iti Mridalini with Aparna Sen.
Oh, wow.
And a film called Honor On in 2005. And a web series 3 years back, Shabdo Jobdo.
It sounds nice. I'm going to only look at opening shots. I'm going to go back and check all the opening shots where you're an actor also, where you're not responsible.
But I don't even say opening shot. I didn't mean that. I'm saying you can pick any 20 seconds from the film, anywhere, middle, 40% in, wherever. And you'll know because it is the same stamp on every shot.
But since you don't do a short breakdown, I'm just trying to think, you come on the set, what is the camera point of view then? Is that in your head or is that something innovative?
That, like I said, that's what we discover. The joys of discovery. So for me, if I know what I'm going to do.
So the art is in actually making it, is what you're saying. I'm with you. I can't stand these guys over rehearse and, because it sounds like craft afterwards.
Terrible.
It's not perfect.
Not only it's craft, it becomes mechanical.
Yeah.
And
no streams of consciousness, no live, like the podcast. It's terrible, but at least it's real. Yeah.
And then it becomes execution in my head. If I know what I'm going to do, then I just go there and do it. I don't want to do that. I want to discover at the moment what it is that is exciting now, at this moment.
Also, you're freeing everybody. You're freeing the DOP, you're freeing the actors. You actually...
It can be stressful for the DOP, but now he has learned to enjoy
if they come from a school of, let's have everything told to me 24 hours.
Kaise lighting karna hai, kahan light lagana hai, all that.
Have you ever got some strange faces and expressions when you tell them this is how we're doing it?
But now...
They all know you now. Back in the day, it must have been
part
like
of the deal.
Does Rajat Kapoor want to do one of these blockbusters? But
no.
But in your way, I'm saying, what if Shah Rukh comes to you and says, bro, I'll just love you. I'll do whatever you say.
I had given the Mithya script to Shah Rukh. I would love to work with him.
But your terms.
Yeah, obviously.
24 days.
Oh,
9 is 9. And you can't shoot at Mehboob. Only. Yeah.
No, but that's, again, it's not about having a star or no. Malika is a star.
Hey, where's Malika been? Like, we haven't seen her around, or maybe I don't watch enough cinema or whatever, but she was all over the place back about 10 years back.
Then I believe she has not done very much work in the last 10 years.
She went with Jackie Chan to China. I have a memory of that. So I was on a plane with her once. Yeah. And then?
And then I think she lives half a time in LA.
But she works there?
She works, or she's making work happen or something like that. She did some television series, web series 2 years back with Balaji. So she does work.
For those who check out RKAY, Malika is looking sensational. Goes back a long way, but she looks as beautiful as she always did, which is obviously genetics. There's no amount of makeup, folks. I've tried. Makeup doesn't help. Surgery we try kar sakte, but I'm not saying that. No, she looks great. Quick word about the actors before we take a break and get Abbas in as well. We spoke a bit about Ranveer. Ranveer Shori was once a VJ. That means you have no talent and you have nothing else to do. But now he's all over. He's done all kinds of things. I heard his politics has changed also, but that's a story for another day, Rajat. Tell us about Ranveer. He's not got his due, perhaps. Lots of good stuff that he's done over the years.
Well, that's how he feels also sometimes, that he's not got his due. I don't think so. I think he's got his due.
He's not working with us again.
No. Because, see, you can look at your life with gratitude or not. It depends, I think, because I've been working with him for 15 years now. I remember 10 years back him cribbing about this other actor. Why is he getting all the roles? Why am I not? That actor is nowhere now. Ranveer is still on. So that's fantastic. Yeah? If you've lasted 15 years, you're still getting...
But that's the same thing they say about governance. We lambast the government all the time, but all of us have good lives. You've got 2 or 3 cars, you've got a big house, your kids go abroad for education. Your lifestyle is pretty good for someone who's oppressed.
We can't complain. You can complain for other people not getting
but that's empathy. But you yourself, you can't say that I'm oppressed. Even as a comedian, Abbas, it's not like you're suffering really.
No.
Munawar Farooqi, maybe he did suffer a little bit. Other than him, the rest didn't really suffer.
We are the privileged ones.
Damn it. Let's vote for the government again, yaar. I've changed my mind. Ranveer, you've convinced us. Malika, of course, how was she to first time? No, not
first time, and incredible to work with. Not only first time, she comes from another universe. I didn't know her. I've never interacted with her. I didn't know she existed in a way.
What are you saying? You don't remember Malika Shirabat?
Meaning, I've seen...
very iconic sort of pop culture girl.
I've seen her in Pyar Ke Side Effects.
Pyar Ke Side Effects, exactly.
I liked her. And I've seen her one dance number in Guru, which was fantastic. But I'm saying, I never thought I would work with her or that she would agree to work with me on a film like this. But somebody suggested her name when we were casting. I sent her the script and she loved it. And she's a big fan of Aankhon Dekhi, which I didn't know at that time. So she loved it. She said, "Sir, thank you, Rajat sir, for sending me the script." And I was like, "Ye kaun hai bhai?"
Rajat sir, kyun?
Aisa.
He's aging us for no reason.
Bollywood.
Not that he called me sir, but yeah. Huh. But that's G, bhai. Sir is more like Adhyapak. It's a total field changes. Coach.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. So maybe she said Rajat.
Did she call you sir on the set as well?
No.
You stopped that quickly.
Yeah. And she's been phenomenal. एक तो पहले दिन आते ही उसने 2-4 इटालियन नाम मार दिए कैमरामैन को भी अबाउट सिनेमाटोग्राफर्स. तो मतलब हम लोग सब ऐसा इम्प्रेस हो गए, अरे बाप रे बाप, ये तो विक्टोरियो स्टोरारो की बात कर रही भाई, वाह. And then she was fantastic as a professional.
She worked with these guys, or she's just knowledge?
She knew about these guys.
So then she's the real deal. So he's going to cast her again because they can talk about foreigners. This is a rare conversation you can have on a set with a fellow colleague who can discuss all these guys. Yeah, in peace. Yeah. Who else is in the film? There are a few other big names.
There's Manurishi Chadda, another very favorite actor of mine, and he's been in 4 or 5 of my films. There's another boy I like very much, Chandrachud Rai. He doesn't have a big role in this, but he's there. And there is Kubra Seth.
Yeah.
Also first time for me. Wonderful actor. And
do you think it's a fair, it's not criticism, but is it like a form of nepotism when we repeat the same group, or is it
I've never worked with Kubra before or Malika Sherawat before.
Yeah.
In the previous film, it was...
But on the other hand, why not? Your level of comfort, whatever, it's also okay, right? Because you're making a piece of art and you think this guy looks like that guy, or in your head, Ranveer is that guy, or whatever.
Or Ranveer can be many guys, you know.
Yeah. That sounds vulgar.
Really. I'd never worked with Sanjay Mishra before. I worked with him in Aankho Dekhi or Seema Pava before. So it's not, and I'm really, really open to meeting new actors and working with. So every time we make a film, we do, I meet 500 actors, casting, auditioning, and I do it myself. And I love that process of meeting new actors.
So do you do the script reading, or do you do more about, I want to get more out of this guy?
We find a scene and then we start improvising around it. And like you said, I want to know who you are.
Exactly. It can't just be that. Huh?
Correct.
That's fantastic. But before we go into the break, one last thing I want to ask you. In 2015, I had to conform and get a mobile phone because of picking up children and the other parents screaming about how do we locate him for our kid and all that. So I had to first use my mother's phone and then I had to get her in a long story.
Right.
Yeah. What about you? You're the one guy who didn't have you and I didn't have mobile phones till 2015.
And Tom Alter was the third one. He died, poor guy.
Oh God, the way you put it. It's like somebody's coming with a mobile phone. Tom, no, Jamie, if you're watching, I apologize.
Yeah.
So, do you have the phone?
No, I don't.
You still don't have. How do you manage? How do
I manage what?
They drive us crazy.
I don't pick up kids. They're grown up now.
Yeah, you just left them outside. It's always about that opening shot. Yeah,
no. There's always somebody with you who has a phone.
Yeah.
If I need to call somebody, I'll take Abbas's phone.
But what about this Paytm and all these things? How do you manage? I mean, the government is suggested we.
Paytm.
You don't pay any bills, Rajat?
I don't do Paytm. I do it online or Kotak Bank.
Okay. You go on your comp and you pay on net banking. See what personal information I'm getting about a filmmaker. Nobody will, about Fellini's payment style. Nobody knows. Abhi tak.
Cash. It was always cash.
That demonetization, they took that away. Ranveer and his government.
From Fellini.
Okay, we'll go into a quick break, and as we come back, a man who's going to spend a little more time on your glory, who knows more about the subject than me, Abbas. He's fascinated about cinema. In a sense, you all are from the same tribe. You make the films, but deep down, you're just like cricket lovers. I meet a fellow cricket lover, a serious cricket lover, I'm always happy to meet them.
Just so I'm a big film buff.
I know. Deep down, that thing is there in you from beginning to end. We take a quick break, and Abbas will join us. Not the most pleasant sight. Stay where you are. All right, we're back here with Rajat and Abbas. Abbas,
yes.
As you are the Mayank Shekhar of our little podcast world.
I am...
first, pay tribute, touch his feet, say all the right things.
I keep abreast of what is happening in the film world, and I am a fan of Rajat's, and I have seen a lot of his films. But the way you're making me out like an encyclopedia or whatever, I am not. But I do want to mention...
correcting everybody on the show when it comes to any film. Hindi,
and
English or German.
when he was talking about Fellini and Truffaut also, I was nodding my head while you were nodding your head in disbelief.
Correct. So you were thinking, which child should I call Fellini? Which child should I call Truffaut? Once you have your 11 kids.
Yes. But I wanted to tell Rajat actually more than ask him is that... so Rajat, if you don't know, very briefly, I used to study dentistry in the early 2000s, and I dropped out of it. And
it's a very long story.
I'm giving him the short version.
We have time.
And I wanted to be a screenwriter, and it did not pan out. As you can see, now I'm on a podcast. I dabbled with comedy, which is how I'm aware of your brother, Rajneesh, who's very funny, in my opinion. But there was a brief period when I was in Bangalore, and I was studying dentistry, and I did not like it, where I took solace in films. Mm-hmm. And Rajat's films were many of Rajat's films that he starred in and also films he made, which for a brief while in the mid 2000s, it felt like this, whatever you want to call it, indie, small budget,
Right.
these genre of films. And I was very young and hopeful. Then I was like, we can change the way cinema is made. I can see these films doing well and giving me hope and all of those. There's a film like Mithya, Bheja Fry for me and my friends for the longest time.
Yeah.
Even though you didn't
Huge
make
film.
it, but you were in the film.
I think way past Rajat's, bygone days when he's in heaven or hell or where the hell he is.
Yeah,
That's going to be one of the big. There are 2 or 3 of his films which are going to be standout films. I think which will be appreciated many years later, and the blockbusters will be forgotten. Many of them, but that's the life.
For the longest time was an inside joke between me and my friends where we would quote the lines from the film and laugh about it.
At least you've moved on from Sholay, na? Look at my generation,
Yes.
yaar. School Sholay, college Sholay, last year college Sholay, university Sholay, everything. Gabbar's bloody iconic dialogue, nothing else.
Yeah. So we sort of touched upon this a little bit in the first half, but films like those is what a lot of streaming material is right now, where there is this thing that this in Hollywood.
Let's just call it quality. So you're saying there's more quality, huh?
Well, that's my question. You see, in Hollywood, there is this thing where the mid-budget film is dying out. It's either the Marvel,
Avengers,
Transformers kind of film, which are made on a stupendous budget and are expected to make similar kind of money. Or there are these smaller films which are not even getting a theatrical release, they're directly going on streaming. Right. Are we seeing something like that in India as well? Like you said, the triple Rs and the star-driven films. Not that wasn't ever the case, but your film RKAY is a theatrical release, right? So where do you stand on the fact that let a film go to a streaming site and find its audience versus cinema?
Or is it a more quality audience on
theater?
streaming sites than there is general janta?
Well, when the OTT platforms came 5-6 years back, again we were very hopeful, as we were hopeful in the mid 2000s when multiplexes came in.
Right.
We thought now things will change, as you did and so did we. But it always ends up in the same way. Any new innovation or movement in the exhibition sector gets appropriated by the mainstream cinema. So multiplexes...
That's true, actually. They hijack it.
Yeah, they hijack it. Or eventually everybody knows that route, wants to do that. Though initially when they're stepping in, they say, okay, indie and so on. But the ambition is always to go for the big budget superstar films. So that's their basic aim. And okay, why not? So my thing is, for me, making a film is very important.
Okay.
What happens to it is not in my hands. Kadak was a direct to OTT release, and that's all right. People have watched it. Magic of watching a film on big screen is really unmatched. So I'm very excited RKAY is getting a theatrical release. On the other hand, a film like Aankhon Dekhi, which was released in cinemas and ran for 3 weeks, which is not bad. But I think about 50,000 people saw it then. And that's it. But because of OTTs and television, people kept watching it. And the love for that film grew over the years because of these platforms. So yeah, at least... these platforms have given your film a life.
But that's another point, no? Some of the works have legs, in a sense, because we all worried about the Friday release and by Sunday result and like it's a test match or one-day game. It's not that. Many of these things grow. Now, Malika says she loved the film, for example. We don't know where she watched or how she watched. And years have passed, probably.
Exactly.
So then you can see that those are and the others just go into history. They just disappear.
Correct.
So if they have legs, it's not about how much they collected in the first month or two, because that means nothing over a 10-year period when the film has stood on its own or not.
Exactly. And then something... So what I said, it doesn't matter what happens to the film. For me, the important thing is to make the film. And if it has value, then somebody will watch it after 20 years, Somebody will watch it 40 years after you're dead,
Like Sholay, still watching it.
Yeah. Like Sholay. Or Pyasa.
Visually, take a pic. Put Pyasa up there, about Sholay quickly in one shot. So which is the tough question? Which is your favorite Rajat Kapoor film, as a filmmaker?
I think Aankhon Dekhi, Mithya have come very close to how they were, the vision was. RKAY is also close to that. But I'm not sure. Also, for me, it takes 2-3 years after the
Perspective changes
to know if it really achieved what...
Is there anyone you felt, oh no, this didn't work out the way I thought? Yeah?
Fatso didn't work out, unfortunately. And
I thought you were calling Abbas names. I was worried I was going to interfere and say, oh, don't be rude to him. It's very touchy about that.
And I don't know why. It's not that you work less on a film or with less passion. No.
As in you weren't happy with the product.
Yeah, it didn't come together as we thought it would. But then that's allowed. That's okay.
You win some, you lose some. You can't.
But I'm saying that is not even that. It's I think part of the any creative process where you should be ready to risk everything. You should be ready to fall flat on your face.
Correct.
You know, only then there's a chance.
You're saying the right things to us for our podcast. Let me tell you. I mean, this is so motivating. You have no idea. We keep going Abbas.
Is there a stage for something
this is a really important thing. What he's saying, we should remember that. Most people are so touchy about how they look in the image and all. They can't free themselves to express themselves. I see that in the gym in the morning. The guy's too tight-wounded to, lift weights properly because he's just whatever how he looks in front of other people. It starts from there, just to express yourself, which I think being basically honest and open and just transparent on a set, and then you get some winners, as you have discovered.
You have to take the chance.
But is there a point, for example, in Fatso, where you figured out, okay, it's not going as I planned, and you try to salvage it, or do you?
No, we thought it was.
When you see the rushes, I think he's saying.
No. See, at the rushes, every film of mine, the first 10 days of edit are a nightmare. Every film. Aankhon Dekhi, Mithya, Kadak, everything. RKAY. First 10 days is, oh my God, what have we done? Every time. It's amazing.
Welcome to our show.
We are in that stage.
Raj doesn't stop after 10 days, tell him. That's scary.
And then in the edit, then you try and find the film that you imagined, that you shot, or you thought you shot. And then slowly the film comes together, or not, as in Fatso's case. I don't know why we failed, but we failed.
But then again, like you said, perspective. So it may have failed, and then after 2-3 years, it may not look that bad to you. You never know. It may suddenly.
Something went wrong.
Up.
Something went wrong.
That's the one bad kid. You can't help him.
The first half of the film is very beautiful. It's really nice. Something didn't work in the second half. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, but again, do you blame? I mean, it's a collective effort also to be on a point, right?
No, but yeah, it's a failure. When you take credit for the success, you should be able to take credit for the loss also.
We don't know what that feels like. This whole success thing you're talking about, bro. Just imagine, for us, it's a piece of art. Yeah. All right.
I had another question. Yeah. Is there a filmmaker or a type of film that you saw over the last 2 years when we were all in lockdown and watched a lot of stuff? Did you discover?
I think he constantly watches. He's one of those voracious watchers, aren't you?
Not so much now, but I have watched earlier. Now I don't watch very much. From the Indian films, I liked E Bale Oo very much.
Oh yeah.
You saw that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, really, really impressive.
You should watch it, Cyrus.
I was his fan when I saw him do a Beckett play when I was very young in Hindi. Right. And I don't normally watch Hindi theatre because I struggle with the language. But I loved him, and I came out and I told everybody this guy is special. And nobody took me seriously because he's another troupe from Delhi or wherever, doing their thing, whatever. But you could see there was something really special about him. I mean, it was just, you could see a guy born to do something immediately.
In 92, how old were you?
I was in college. I don't remember the exact year, but you were not really very well known. You were on the theatre circuit, but that's it. But fresh, absolutely fresh, very distinct from everybody else, and fantastic, that production. It was superb, really. And with no money, nothing. It was not like he has spectacular sets or anything. So holding you just basically with performance and content and thought. That's it. It was great.
Wow, thank you.
Then ask me after that, what have I watched? Yeah. But that, of course, is theatre. It doesn't always translate into cinema. A lot of people are good at one and not perhaps good at two.
Yeah,
that's what I was asking about your directing styles also. I thought it's so different. You're screaming at actors without a mic and all that, trying to work with people. I'm just trying to remember theatre days. It's not easy. And then on set is a little more official, organized.
What is really hard about theatre? Screaming at actors without mic? That is hard.
Well, no budget for anything. There's no money. You gotta get a prop from your house. It's like, what do you want? You want a stapler? Those days. Something romantic about that period, of course. Also, you put things together.
For me, that feeling of amateur theatre has really stayed with me, and I think it's one of the greatest endeavors in the world. So, in fact, the way we make films is very, very amateur theatre. We still work without budgets. We still work without vanity vans, and
Malika had no problem?
And it still works. Malika had no problem. She was fantastic.
And she just quoted some Italian name and they all bonded.
She worked with David Lynch's daughter in the film His.
And he says he's not a cinephile. See, now who knows this? Why would you know this? He gets no dates because he knows this. It's a wrong conversation to begin with, wherever you are. Yeah. So one last thing about KK, and then we'll of course go into the questions we have.
RKK.
RK.
Hello. I was wondering.
It's dementia. I've spoken to the doctor. It's setting in. It's just a matter of time. All right. Be nice to an old man. I might be standing outside Prithvi, you might be feeding me. Soon hand feeding me. I won't be able to eat on my own. RK. But why there's a distinct spelling difference? Can we show it?
Yeah.
We can show it.
RKAY.
One of the K's is spelled as KAY.
Yeah.
Oh, well, because they're different people, RK and RK.
Yeah.
They're the same, but they're different.
Yeah. For a minute, I thought it was Rajat Kapoor, the biography. But it's nothing like that at all.
No, not
Just
at
to
all.
make it very clear to those. Because there was that Anil Kapoor and AK and...
Right, AK versus AK.
AK versus AK,
yeah.
Also a quite
Yeah.
interesting
One
film.
is-
Yeah.
I wouldn't put that in the same class, though, with no disrespect to Anil Kapoor. It's a little
enjoyable.
different.
I haven't seen that.
Chamcha.
Not
Okay.
Chamcha, it was enjoyable.
In case
It's
Anil
very
Kapoor comes
rare
on the
to
show.
see mainstream Hindi film actors parody themselves.
Right.
And Anil Kapoor did that.
He's
so
been
it was
smart
quite-
that way, no? He's taken on a few roles that nobody else has ever since that. What is the English? Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
He's been able to do that. Is that a problem with our actors, you think? That they don't want to test themselves and do different things and get out of their...
Well, the
Comfort zone.
image is a big problem.
So it traps them.
Yeah. But it traps them also. It's a trap that you want.
Because the money keeps coming in.
Exactly.
But then you've done nothing. You've done the same thing. You play the same character, sometimes the same name. They've
Right.
used in 87
Right.
films.
Right.
That's...
I don't know, whatever people choose to do with their lives or with their career, it's just allowed. Also, the problem is very often when they do try and change, the complete rejection follows, and that can be scary.
Yeah, but that's not just India. That's abroad as
anywhere.
well. When they become iconic, they just can't try anything else.
Yeah.
They've got to be the
I
hero.
suppose. Correct.
Yeah.
Correct. Yeah, but I think our actors don't have ambitions in terms of.
What do you think? They're not artists sometimes, so they don't want to
They
follow
don't
the
have
art.
ambitions discovering
They
the
want to be
craft.
stars. There's two different things altogether. Yeah. Abbas wanted to be a star. That's all he
And I'm
wakes
on a
up in the morning.
podcast.
Yeah. I told you, do it naked. Don't try something different.
The only starry thing I do is show up late.
That you do, my
Every
brother.
day.
And it's 10 a.m. It's not 6 a.m. God knows what will happen if we do that. Yeah, all right. Let's take a few questions for Rajat. And, of course, how do you handle people? I'm sure when you're at airports and all, when people come and talk to you.
With
and,
gratitude.
No, when they want to act, when they come and say, Rajat, I want to act.
Like Sparsh will approach him right after this recording.
I'm sure you get that also, no? The gratitude is fine because they really love your films and that's fine. Why not?
We don't say,
they
want
ask
to
for-
act. He says, sir, I've come from Delhi. And,
It's always Delhi.
and then I'm starting out. So what should I do? I said, I have no idea. I have no idea what you should do. You find out for yourself. But if you really want to do it, you will do it. There's no stopping.
Oh, so you're encouraging. You're not one of those, not my friend Kunal, who says, boss, I don't think you look good for a hero. I said, go and talk to him like that. The guy's face went like that. Why lie? So you have to lie sometimes, I mean, who knows? Not all heroes are great looking. Yeah. All right, let's see what we
By
got.
the way, I just want to point out that we mentioned that about mainstream cinema and all. Rajat has been in some pretty...
As an actor.
Really good mainstream films.
No,
He
but
was
as
in
an
Dil
actor,
Chahta
he's
Hai,
not-
Scam 92.
Well, he's
you
done
won,
act
which was-
films. Nothing
Of course,
is more prolific than an act film.
See, as an actor, your job is to be part of the director's vision.
Right.
And you try and do that to the best of your abilities.
You're trying to trap Rajat on some...
No, I'm just saying that
Sir, yahan pe kaisa aa
it's
gaya?
not like...
But when you're making a film, Abbas, then A, it is your vision. B, you're spending 1.5 years of your life on that film.
Correct.
So if you don't believe in that, why would you ever do that?
So when you're on set, just as an actor...
I'm completely submissive.
Okay.
Absolutely submissive.
And you keep your opinions to yourself in a sense.
Yeah, but I might suggest something as an actor. I might say, यार ये मैं पहले बोल के फिर पानी पीने चलेगा.
No, वो ठीक है. That's your
बस.
character. I'm saying with the fullness of the film, you're not interfering.
Not at
You're not going
all.
to tell him, कि boss, ये तो ठीक नहीं लगता यार. It makes no sense. Why is she pregnant? She's not seen him for 12 months. I mean, these things are there in the cinema.
Okay, let's go to the AMAs.
I keep my mouth shut.
Follow me at Instagram and Twitter on Bored Brocha. I'm so bored, I need your help. I need your love. I need your touch. Okay, just follow me.
Cool. The first one comes from Aditya Chadha. Aditya says, hi Rajat. You have done a lot of work with the brilliant Vinay Pathak. Could you please talk about how you guys met and how you became friends? And what's it been like working with Vinay? Could you share a fond memory or story if possible?
Oh my God.
Was he in C for Clowns?
Yeah.
I've seen him on stage with you.
Yeah, that was the first time we worked together. But I met him in 95. He'd just come from the US from finishing his course in theatre. And I was doing some writing job for Ketan Mehta at that time. We met at Ketan's office. He'd just come. And then we went out, I remember, to Mondega.
Our side of town, beta.
Your side of town.
Mondega reference.
Because
just for this, we should stop the podcast and show respect.
That's a great
Kulaba,
point.
bhai, Kulaba. We got some guy from Juhu area to come to Kulaba. To meet a guy who came from US, by the way.
Yeah. Ketan's office was in Grant Road. My wife... Meenal.
In case you forgot. No, I also had dementia. First thing that goes is wife and kids. Some say good thing.
She was not my wife at that time. That's what I was trying to remember. We got married the year after that. My girlfriend at that time, she was a photographer with Midday.
Yeah.
So that's why town.
Correct.
So we met at Montegar. Meenal came and we spent that evening together. We became friends. And then for next 4 years, none of us had work. We would meet every day. We would cook. We would
nothing bonds better than out of work actors, bro.
Yeah. And then in 99, when I did C for Clown, when I was part of that, and since then we've done, I think, 6 plays together, many films. He's my soulmate. He's a very, very, very dear friend. One of the most generous people I know. A phenomenal actor, and yeah, really like my brother or more.
And he's got a sailor's mouth. I worked with him on a couple of films. He's as dirty as I am. It's just warning. If he goes into that avatar, it's dangerous. But who paid for the Mondegar meal? Do you remember?
Meenal was the working one, maybe.
2 boys from the north, they find the girl who's working. I mean, look at this, Rishi. Where's the Shiv Sena now, yaar? No one's taking this up.
Mondega till this day, though, was very affordable. It's not like the prices
Yeah,
are high.
it wasn't that.
That picture was $125 in my day, and that was a bit stiff. Yeah, come on. I can't remember now. How much would it be now?
I had a Coca-Cola.
You're teetotaler.
Yeah, so that was about 20 rupees.
So
I was also about to say, neither do I drink.
But Vinay drinks, right? Or drank then at least?
No.
No? So what are you doing in Mondegar? Listening to the music, the jukebox?
The girls were drinking beer.
Typical Indian story. There was a happen happening in the boring men. Script pado yaar.
Okay, the next one comes from Gaurav Shah. Cyrus and Mr. Rajat Kapoor, hope you're both doing well. Rajat, I know that you are a big admirer of Shakespeare, at least going by your live productions. Where did this love start? And could you talk about clowning in Shakespeare plays that you incorporate in your productions?
I didn't know Shakespeare at all. The first interaction with Shakespeare I had in 95, I translated a play, Taming of the Shrew, for my friend who was directing it.
Translate Shakespeare
to Hindi?
Your knowledge of both languages has to be seriously good. Huh?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just thinking, you can't just turn up and do it. Anyway.
Into Hindi, yeah. And so I spent 3 months translating that play and obviously spent enough time with it. Still, I didn't get it. But when I went to Delhi to watch the production, then I got the show. And then I realized something. I realized that Shakespeare is not meant to be read. It is meant to be watched. That's the only way you can have a relationship.
All the double meanings all come on much better in a production, for example.
Exactly. And then after having done C for Clown, I had this idea, what if the clowns were to do a classical play, like Shakespeare. So we tried our hand at Hamlet. It became Hamlet the Clown Prince. It's been running for 12 years actually, 2008 to now, 14 years.
There are a few people in government who could take that name as well. I was thinking, change Hamlet.
But they don't last for 14 years.
Well, they do, brother. They do in various... Just take a look at the history of India. They do. We've never had a problem with mediocrity. Mediocrity is something that's sustained, yeah.
Yeah, but Hamlet the Clown Prince was funny, unlike your friends.
Yeah.
So then after having done Hamlet, I thought, okay, let's do another play. And that became Nothing Like Lear. And we did it with just one actor, with Vinay. And then we did 2 more, Macbeth and As You Like It. My reason to do Shakespeare, A, is for me to understand the text itself. And I realized that if you're doing Macbeth, there's really nothing better or anything written, any text about greed or ambition.
Or about actors. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and... what's the line?
Wow.
Life's but a walking shadow, poor player. who struts and freshes the stage.
I'm impressed.
What is full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. He'll come back.
Oh my God.
Favorite quotes. Yeah.
Do you have a favorite Shakespeare play, Cyrus?
I just did Othello with my daughter, and the racism is so rampant, which you didn't think about it when you read it as a young person. But a favorite play would be Julius Caesar because he studied it and everything, and all the great speeches, etc. But Hamlet, my God, I mean, every time you read it, it's got another spin to it, and the Hamlet, you can look at him from so many different perspectives. Yeah. So it's a bit
And that's why these plays last, because there's so many possibilities of interpretations and reading them.
Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and freshes the stage and then is heard no more, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Is that it?
Don't look at me. One missing link.
One missing link is there. Let's try again. Life's but a walking shadow, a poor player that struts and frets the stage and then is heard no more. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. It is a tale told by an idiot, full of sound and fury. Look at the loveliness of that line. All this bombast and thing means nothing at the end, signifying nothing. So we're all bullshitters, and that's the story.
Impressed.
Yeah.
My introduction to Shakespeare was The Lion King because it's based off of Hamlet.
Yeah. There, the biggest murder for me was Hakuna Matata. The actual Swahili song, the tune is so beautiful, the folk song. What they did with that.
Oh,
rubbish.
Really? You knew that before the film?
Na 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 na. It's a beautiful lyrical song.
So Hakuna Matata is not
a stupid childish
it's
song.
not a Disney creation?
No, the folk song in Swahili is glorious. It's beautiful.
Wow.
It'll make you cry. It's a beautiful folk
How
song.
did you know that song?
I went to Kenya.
Oh, and you knew it.
What do you think? I live in Malba Hill and never leave the house? You're right.
Okay, let's take one last question. This one comes from Drishti. Drishti says, hi Cyrus and Rajat. Nice to be talking to you via an AMA. Big fan of Rajat. I recently saw that you crowdfunded a movie. How did that work? What was the process and when would it be coming out?
Oh, this is the film that's coming out now. It's called RKAY.
This is true.
Yeah.
I read that as well.
It's partly crowdfunded.
Yeah.
Because money is hard to come by for my kind of films. So crowdfunding is one way. Of course, you can't raise even a small budget, which the film needed, all through crowdfunding. But it kick-started the campaign. We got about 15%.
So can the guy who sent $5,000 say that's my movie?
Yes.
He can.
And his name is there in the credit list.
Oh, excellent.
There are 800 people who have given money.
What are you saying?
From 100 rupees.
Imagine the guy's just going to wait for the end just to think, Mr. Shah. See, that's
Absolutely. People have given 100 rupees to somebody I don't know who's given 5 lakhs. So we got about 40 lakhs like that. But because of the crowdfunding, somebody came in as a part producer and gave 1.5 crores.
Wow.
Their name is Priyam Srivastav and Harshita Karkare. They are software people based in Pune.
There's always those guys. Who else has the money?
I know. So grateful for that.
Yeah, I'm sure you have many people who love you across India, and I'm sure it's not that difficult to raise money. For Rajat Kapoor, send me 10% and we'll get this deal done as soon as possible. Before we say bye to him, let's try it again. Life's but a walking shadow.
Oh my God.
A poor player that struts and frets the
You can
stage
just
and then
ask
is heard
him
no
if you
more.
want a role,
It is a
Cyrus.
tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. Bro, the beauty of words, man. Abbas, I thought you're part of this. You're a wordsmith. Okay, love having you here, Rajat. The film is called RKAY releases today. So what an interview. Look at the timing. Man, you can't ask for better timing than this. Go out there and watch it in the cinema, all right, as soon as possible, so that we can put more money in the cap of Rajat Kapoor to make his next film, which is already probably in the works, knowing you.
One is done.
One is done and the second one is in the works. Oh, what a life. You never stop. You never take breaks.
Gratitude. Just plain gratitude. Thank you.
I guess you're happy doing what you're doing, unlike us in this stupid podcast. Rajat Kapoor.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.
Okay, catch us on any of the podcasting apps. Please, we beg you, we need you. Send us your questions on Twitter, on Cyrus Says In. Or you can email us, even if you're not female, on whatcyrussays@gmail.com.